And so it came to pass that our two hosts were finally united again after many disconnects and deaths and other stuffs that happen in hardcore and not hardcore and things. I had something here. I really did. I was going someplace with this and I completely lost it. But anyways, here we are. Episode 143 of the Westmarch Workshop, The Need for Greed, as we're now almost a full 2 weeks into Season 14, and, well, I know that you're going to have a lot more to talk about this Leviathan than I do, unfortunately. But, how have you been doing, good sir?
Hey man, I'm great. I'm doing very well. It's good to hear your lovely voice. Got to hang out with Dredd on the last episode, so it's nice to tag back in with you. I guess you tagged in for him. I don't know. It's like this revolving door of lovers for all of us.
It's like, you know, it's just like the little, like, kind of like, almost like pseudo threesome that keeps, like, going around.
And going and going.
And going and going. Yeah.
And they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming. So in any case, yeah, I've been having a great season. Man, I knew going into season 14 that there was the potential for it to be really fun because I was going to approach it a little differently than I have the last few seasons, but I didn't really anticipate having as much fun as I've been having so far.
And you have been rocking it, sir.
I've been playing a lot, and to have this many seasons transpired leading up to season 14 and to still want to play as avidly as I have been, I think it either is a testament to A, my insanity, B, the amazing nature of seasons, I guess, in particular with Diablo 3, to just keep reinvigorating the passion for it, and maybe see a little bit attribution to the theme season. I feel I have to kind of, the same way, remember we had to walk back the whole, what's this pestilence set thing? This sounds dumb.
Corpse Lance is the dumbest skill that's
ever
been made.
That's what it was. It was Corpse Lance. No one's gonna ever use this skill. Like I kind of gotta walk back my theme season dislike for the double goblins because it made a big difference. I don't know if we want to jump right into season 14 travails, but man, I was really surprised by the impact on our season with the double goblins so far.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't affected myself too much, but I can tell you that at least it helped with a little bit of the journey getting up to 70, getting a couple of the odious collectors, just for the fact that it's like, oh, now I don't really have to worry about picking up crap. I can just craft those weapons as I'm going.
Yeah.
I wasn't lucky enough to get a canes, but, you know, c'est la vie.
Right. Sometimes that'll happen. But I think it does. The crafting materials impact is pretty huge because I don't know if you've yet experienced this, but 2 gelatinous sires is massive.
I have not experienced that quite yet, but I can only imagine on, you know, like tier 13 how many. There's always you're looking for the death's breaths, and that's probably like, God, how many? Like 100 on its own.
Yeah, a T13 game, 4 players. I can get into some of the specifics that people have. So I started out the season, so I'm doing groups this season. So, you know, I'm the purveyor of the solo self-found initiative, league, etc. But this season, I'm going with pure hardcore grouping and kind of taking that as far as I can take it. And my plan, for those who are wondering, is to just go back and forth each season between different modes. So in order to kind of keep it fresh, I'll do like all SSF like I did last season for season 13. Then all grouping like I am for season 14, then back to SSF. So in any case, this season, I wanted to put a group together, and I was talking to Tuba Hero, who's kind of emerged as someone in the clan and someone that just seems to really enjoy this game as much as I do. We were like, all right, let's partner up because we both are going to have some free time to play and all that. And then I happened to just be in Drop a Dewski's stream, who's another member in our community, plays a ton of D3 as well and streams. And he was mentioning that he's going to play hardcore. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Let's team up. Let's do this. Because I've wanted so much to do collaborative projects with other people in the community and stuff beyond just, you know, like we do our podcast here. Sometimes work together with Dredd with graphics and things. But I feel like there's so many resources that we don't really tap into with one another. that it could be cool to just say, all right, there's a lot of time to create content or do things. Like we should try to work together a little bit more. And so I was able to, I don't even think it took that much convincing, but I was like, yo, let's do it. So drop a dooski, and then he had a friend, Dave, who was also playing to start hardcore with him. Us four combined into Captain
your
Planet.
Powers combined.
That's right. And took on the start of the season. And double goblins, man. We did all the little strats and things. Like I put out a leveling guide before the season started. And, you can do the challenge rift, save that until the Friday when the season starts, go and get those materials, use them to craft a good weapon at like level 40 with level reduction, so on and so forth. But it actually just turned out that having, multiple blood shard goblins, I think we came across 4 to 5 sets of 2 within our 1 through 70 journey. So at some point you were just like, well, we have way too many blood shards. Might as well spend these on things. And you were just getting the ability to bring in more of these legendary affixes and things to help speed up the leveling. So for our group, it took us 2.5 hours to get to level 70. It's the fastest I've ever done it before.
Yeah, that is impressive. And I know that I was going off of like a little bit of a guide for my Necromancer. I leveled most of it solo, and then for like the last little bit got a boost. So I'm out of the solo self-found this time as well. But it was just like going through and getting those like specific items, because like for the Necro, you've got like at a particular point where you can get the Corpse Whisper Pauldrons like right at level 30, and that just makes everything like super easy from that point forward.
Face roll it.
Yes.
Yeah, some of those powers are so influential. For our group, the Crusader, who was Tuba, ended up with a ton of things that modified Blessed Hammer. So from the Guard of Johanna to the Bracers, once you have someone in your group that has one of those things, or like you said, if you're going to be doing it, a little on your own, just 1 or 2 of those items can transform the whole leveling experience. So it's pretty cool, be able to do that, help yourself along to 70, and then of course everyone knows the game starts at 70 for the most part. So then you're going through your seasonal journey. I still just feel the feel of the impact of the treasure goblins is so wild, because like I was saying, so you kind of touched on it, but yeah, getting 2 gelatinous sires with like a 4-player game and T13. Tuba put together his Sage setup for the Crusader, and yeah, he was coming away with like 100+ DBs each time that we get him. I mean, they're super lot. You know how already with 1 gelatinous, how when they do the splits, it kind of locks down your game?
Oh yeah.
It's really bad with 2, man. Apparently, another person who actually mentioned in a bit for his level with the Cause Initiative, Wolfcry, was saying at the beginning of his season, they got a huge pack of goblins, just a regular goblin pack. And I think there were like 9 gelatinous sires in there or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, I've never heard of such a thing transpiring.
How many?
Apparently, oh, sorry. 9 gelatinous sires, and apparently it lagged their game so badly they were playing hardcore, they lost a character.
Oh.
Just wiped off. Could you imagine all those good rewards right there, and you're just like, by the way, guys, I'm dead.
Yeah,
so,
I'm dead. I'm just staring at all these like set pieces and
things I can't touch. Can't touch.
Can't touch us.
So I was just like, wow, yeah, I could see how that would happen. That's unfortunate. So nuts, man. It's as much as I didn't think it would be high impact in terms of like, yeah, you'll see them, it'll be cool, like whatever. It's definitely making like I've never, and I guess it's a little, I can't quite make a good comparison because it's been a while since I've done a lot of grouping, but I haven't, compared to last season, especially with solo self-found, I was running out of mats all the time. This time I've had like 10,000 plus of each. And every time you go to do keys or whatever to get regular rifts, you're going to come across double goblins, and you just never feel like you run out anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it like kind of goes to show like maybe just like how much you actually get from the goblins themselves. It doesn't really, you don't really think about it too much as you're just playing the game and accumulating stuff regularly. But it's the more so from the bounty runs that you're going to go and get those materials. Because you don't get too much, from running greater rifts. Maybe from regular rifts, you'll come across a goblin every once in a while, get some stuff. Do you think that it adds a lot more value to the? Do they double spawn in the vault?
No, well, only when the regular one shows up sometimes. No, you get those three out of the gold piles.
Yeah.
Those don't double, but sometimes you just get that random treasure goblin that's in there that can double.
Okay.
So you can sometimes get five in there. That would have been nuts if it did double in the vault, because that I think you'd be running puzzle rings all the time if you could.
Yeah, I was just about to
'Cause-
say, that would change like the value of the puzzle ring because as you get further and further into the season, it's kind of like well, maybe I need a little bit more gold, to for, um, yeah, boosting my rifts, but that's about it.
right? Yeah, yeah. Because after a while, especially if you're including Avarice Band, Gold Wrap, Boon of the Hoarder kind of combo in your T13s, you usually can start to sustain yourself through those to get enough gold to then empower. By the time you're done empowering, you're maybe quite low on gold, but not emptied out. And then you repeat that process enough to, yeah, like you said, phase out really needing to do puzzle rings. But I wonder, maybe it's just a tech thing because we noticed also that the one goblin that doesn't double, I'm surprised you didn't even get emails about it, but the insufferable miscreant, because it comes out of a portal, I guess that tech makes it so that it doesn't double because you don't get two of them that come out of a portal next to each other. It's just any of the ones that are already spawned on the map. So like if there's just an Odious waiting on the map, it has another Odious next to it. But for whatever reason, the Insufferables, when they come out, it's just on their lonesome.
Yeah. I guess it must have something to do with, like you were mentioning the tech of that it's tied to the actual, like the random generation of the mob type itself. And that the Insufferable isn't actually generating a mob, it's a chance to generate the portal. That then goes through and spawns it. And that it would have to, the tech would have to be ported over to double the portals.
Right.
And then maybe there's something that's preventing them from doing that.
It could be. It is kind of funny though, because it's just like now the one you don't want to see is you're like, oh, an Insufferable, just one regular goblin.
That's insufferable.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody.
Dad jokes on deck.
That was bad, and I feel bad.
Do you really feel bad though?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you mentioned it though. Are you doing hardcore or softcore this season?
I'm doing softcore again this season, just the way that everything was kind of going through and shaping up. I wasn't sure just how much time that I would be able to go through and dedicate to this season yet again. So I did softcore just on the kind of like the basis of, I can kind of play on and off, and if I don't spend too much time, if I die, I won't feel too bad.
Makes sense.
But yeah, and and as I was mentioning earlier, it's like I just hit 70 last night, so I haven't dedicated all that much time. But things in my schedule and time and all that such is beginning to normalize again. Because the last couple of months were pretty hectic, but things have kind of settled down a little bit. So it should be on the up and up a little bit more.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, you're taking the scenic route, really enjoying that journey that is the seasonal journey.
Yeah.
To come back real quick to weeks in gaming, because I guess we kind of rolled it into our just main topic, which is season 14 recap. We could talk about a little bit more season 14, but I guess sort of dealing with the outside of game stuff. Have you been doing anything else? Like SGDQ just started last weekend, so I've been catching a few of those runs. Luke Cage came out last weekend. So I've been streaming a lot. It's been hard for me to catch up with all these things, but I've been trying to like weave them in here and there.
Yeah, I have a newfound appreciation for just how long an hour actually is, and so I've been finding that a lot of times these hour-long shows have just been a little bit more difficult in order to fit in between everything. I finally got around to finishing Jessica Jones season 2, and yesterday I watched the first episode of Luke Cage.
Nice.
And so
okay.
yeah, I've been catching up on that a little bit. But other than that, not too much other stuff. I still, of course, go through and do the movies, for the theater, going through and playing those. So I've been keeping up, at least been keeping up on the films because the employees. We've been having a rough couple of weeks with a whole bunch of blockbusters. Just been in order to keep the morale boosting. We do these things, and actually tonight instead of a movie, as apparently no one has seen the original Sicario. and that makes me so sad because the original was so good. But you know, this week Sicario 2
That's a
comes out.
Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
Is that the green one
I hope
in
you can hear how hard I'm face palming right
in
now.
the Kanto region?
Yeah, yeah, Kanto, definitely Kanto.
Nice. I never caught one of those. Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
You know, keep trying, keep trying. You know, the Pokemon Go, you have to like go like 35 miles per hour backwards
Gotta really
and in
go.
a circle
Yeah.
at a 45-degree incline, and then it will appear.
So I've only been Pokemon kind of going. I gotta really go.
There you go.
Mm.
But like this week, Sicario 2 is like the big movie, and no one's seen it, so they actually requested to do a game night. So what we're doing, we'll just be connecting like some consoles up to one of the projectors, and you know, going through playing. I think Mario Tennis is like one of the big party games that just recently came out that everyone was wanting to play. So,
Ooh,
yep, there we go.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the Switch. Oh, I guess that was the thing that transpired since our last episode. E3. You keep up with any of the news from there? Any titles that excited you?
Last of Us 2. I was actually, you know, loved the original so much, and so that was. There was only a couple games I was looking forward to hearing about at E3. You guys, you know, kind of went through and mentioned it. You know, the Diablo 4 was and the World of Warcraft for the PS4 were ones that I was looking forward to not hearing about because that was 100% fake.
Yeah. So weird they didn't come up though. It's on
I
a piece
know.
of. It was on the sheet.
It was on the sheet. It was such a reputable source too, right?
Maybe it was a pay-per-view stream or something. I just didn't pay to see it.
That must have been it. It had behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should have had to be there, I guess.
Yeah. But The Last of Us 2 was one that I was looking forward to seeing, and it looks awesome. I know there's no release date quite yet. The girlfriend has been looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3 for God knows how long, so actually getting a release date was awesome. And then the lack of any mention of Metroid Prime 4 just made Nintendo die a little bit more towards me. So
I know you've been wanting that so badly.
yeah,
I didn't mind. So on my side, I was stoked by how much information we got on the next Smash because that's a huge game as far as ones that I would really enjoy and really forced me to go and pick up a Switch. So Nintendo kind of came away from E3 in my eyes. It's like, hey, nicely done. But I can definitely see, like, if you're looking for certain titles, like, you know, Thunderclaw, that was one of the contingent dying for this Animal Crossing to finally transpire. So I can see if your personal fave didn't get touched or mentioned. You get some daggers for him.
yeah. Longshot's asking about Warhammer 40K. Not
How's that?
40K, but Age of Sigmar has a new edition launching this weekend, and I'm definitely looking forward to that and having all the plastic pile up, you know, on the hobby table without having the time to put any of it together, let alone paint or play. So we'll see how that goes.
Woo! More things.
More things to do. We need to push for longer days.
Right? Or at least just one. I'm telling you, the best thing, this is like such a tangent, but the best thing in the world would be one day, we kind of had this in my high school, and I think we just need to, and it was a period at school where it was called X period, and literally no one could do anything that was like super scheduled. So it was essentially a free time for the entire school to get together and do like activities, or like if you needed extra help, you could kind of like schedule that a little bit, but it was mostly just so that everyone could be free and like not have to worry about, oh, I want to like talk to this person or meet with them for this discussion, but you know, we have this mutual whatchamacallit, like tying up of our schedule or whatever. So like, what if there was a day where no one could do anything? There was no work, there's no nothing, but you just got to like be free and just do whatever.
That sounds amazing. That actually makes me think of you ever watch the show Doug?
Doug Funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love Doug.
The episode of Quail Man where he fought the Rule Meister.
Ooh, that one's not coming to mind.
In it, he fights the Rule Meister, which was the vice principal, and or at least, you know, is what was it? I think it was Mr. Bone. the vice principal, Mr. Bone. It was like kind of a personification of him.
Okay.
But the Rulmeister invented a machine that spun up time to skip the weekend.
Oh.
So that way it was only Monday through Friday, so you're stuck going to school and work all the time with no breaks. Well, Quailman eventually goes through and defeats him and then uses it to slow down time and adds an 8th day called Fun Day.
8th day.
So that way your weekend got longer. I remember that was like one of the greatest things when I was a kid, was like, I wish that there was an 8th day that we could just play for longer.
Where's Quailman to save us now?
Yep.
I like it. Dang, that's wow, that's some serious recall. I haven't thought about Doug in years.
Yeah, though I mean, kind of like how when ABC took over, or Disney took over the series and kind of just changed and ruined everything, it's best not to think about.
Put it in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Word. Right,
Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
What is dead is dead. Speaking of dead, actually, I guess that's a good leeway back into seasonal activities. So you did mention you've been playing softcore. I've been playing hardcore, as previously mentioned. I've already lost 2 Demon Hunters, which would make it sound like this is a horrible season. But like you mentioned, it's been an actual really incredible season. We got off to a great start that weekend. We had our 4-player party. People were like ducking in and out. I managed to finally get back on track to doing my 24 hours, because I think the last couple of times I've attempted it, I haven't done it, or like wanted to do it, but then Thursday start like screwed up the schedule and such. So I finally got one in. Got 29 hours down this time, so that was pretty dope. And as part of that, we did Level with a Cause, and I was mentioning Wolf Crier before with the whole gelatinous sire thingamajig. He is the purveyor, the supporter, the mastermind behind getting these things done each season. So he essentially sets up a cause for everybody to raise money for while they're leveling and starting out a brand new season, and anyone can participate. All you have to do is stream, and that's kind of how you bring in the donations and such for the cause. And he takes care of like picking out the cause, telling people how to set up their tiltifies and all this stuff. So, you know, hats off to him. I can't imagine how much work it is behind the scenes. He also works in coordination with Blizzard to get promotion and all the different fan sites, and he just tries to really bring everyone together for our passionate small community to do work. And it's been getting bigger and better each time out, so it's pretty incredible. This time it was for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and the grand total that was raised was $11,421.17.
That is awesome.
That's so insane. Like, just thinking about the amazing generosity that had to come from our community to bring in those numbers, and the many numbers of streamers that all participated, the many number of like, I just saw like so much generosity. It was insane, and so much hype for it. Like, there's just constant retweets and tweets and support on Diablo fans, on Blizz Pro, from Blizzard themselves, like things in the launcher. It was nuts. It was absolutely incredible.
And is it still Diablo 3 only, or did this season he open it up to like all games?
And yeah, that's actually a great point to make. So that was kind of the cool thing, was this time around too, say, you know, you didn't feel the need to come back for season 14, or the whole like being on the same patch for 3 times now makes you want to do something else, but you still want to participate. You can actually just stream whatever game you wanted to and still be raising money for Level with the Cause. So I think there were some people that maybe started Diablo, but then went to other games, and they were still all weekend long raising money for the cause, which was a cool way to kind of keep it even bigger and better, you know?
You know, especially when it's, you know, it's all about that. It will always have like that roots as being the Diablo season opener and the timing around that. But opening it up, you know, for someone that might not, you know, play Diablo or what have you, but wants to help out and contribute, it gives them the ability to.
Absolutely. That's good, to more inclusive than exclusive.
Exactly, and it's all going to great causes too.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. And like you said, it'll always have the Diablo, because it's got level in there, you know? Like, it's all about that leveling up. In-game and out-of-game.
And,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember because he's done a couple of ones. And the last few have all been St. Jude's, or I think it was he's going back and forth. There was
It's bounced
where
around.
Yeah, the Save the Children, and then I think last year he did do one for St. Jude's before. But there's always kind of like bounce around, with the different charities, to contribute to.
That's
And
right. Like last season's was takethis.org. I've done, or no, sorry, Save the Children. Previous to that was Take This. I think the first one was St. Jude. So yeah, it's bounced around a bunch and tries to make as much impact on different causes as he can.
Mm-hmm.
So cool beans. We'll have to see what happens next time. I think each time it's gone up in terms of the amount raised. So sure, like most things, you just want to beat your personal best each time out.
Oh yeah, and I mean with every new season, it's kind of like its awareness and scope continues to raise. I think it was starting last season with season 13. We went through and promoted it on Diablo fans, and again, this year, or not this season. Now I'm doing it.
Oh, it's catching.
Yeah, and so it's always just one thing that is, I think, that as the word spreads, could be something really cool, really big. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to have Wolfcryer will be able to launch some huge level with a cause whenever D4 comes out.
That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be sick. Yeah, man. So as far as other season 14 related things go, that's just to finish my own little personal anecdotes. I don't want to like make it all about my stuff because there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about. But in any case, I don't know. I've just been having a ton of fun with the season. To keep it short, finding tons of amazing primals, losing tons of amazing primals, some unfortunate deaths. But I mean, just the sheer amount of grouping, and we've been picking up members from the community, like Infinity's in chat. He's been partying a lot with us. We've been picking up just random people who are still playing hardcore and want to join in. So it's been great to kind of get back to that. One of the things that I really enjoyed about being a streamer and playing the game a lot and trying to like be a font of info for the community is being able to see people come in and then like help them, like not only with guides and such and like chat, but directly be like, hey, we're gonna party together, we're going for these higher grade rifts. Like by the time you leave, you'll have more Paragon, you'll have better ranked gems and stuff. So it's been just awesome. Just awesome. So positive.
Or even just someone that might not be able to say like do the Greater Rift 90s. We've been taking people in through like the speed running the 13s for keys and mats and such.
Yeah, well, that's something we want to do. We haven't even done much of that yet. Like mostly it's been just Greater Rifts, but yeah, I mean, I always tell people if there's open spots in the group, you see us just doing some keys or whatever, say you want to join in. This is the perfect opportunity to get all that done. All you have to do is survive, right?
Right.
That's the one hardcore.
What's so hard about that?
Just live. That's it. If you can live, you can win or something. It's a catchier way to say that, I'm sure.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a fireball.
That was a bad time to take a sip of coffee.
Sorry, not sorry.
This guy.
But speaking of like the opposite end of the grouping and all of that, like this season is again another season for the solo self-found, and even though you're not directly participating in it, it's still something that you're going through managing and maintaining.
Yeah, that's right. It's still going. I still get a few questions here and again about, so you're not doing SSF, so is it not happening? Oh no, it's totally happening. And in fact, it's already off to a far better start than it was last season. Like the marks that have been coming in, been highly impressive in terms of people pushing nice and early. Some people keeping up with the amount of Paragon that even some group people are maintaining. It's actually incredible to see. So yeah, it's still going. Discord's hopping. People are putting up the marks. I'm curious to see just what the end result this time around will be, but I think already we're going to see some good competition from people. And again, it's never too late. Like as long as you have some mode, some region where you haven't grouped yet, you can join into SSF.
Yeah, and I also found it interesting, kind of like from the last season of just like some of the people that were like just like super dedicated to it from beginning to end, like SVR. how high up they actually were able to place at the end of the season. They really weren't that far behind the people that were going and doing kind of like the dedicated groups, rat runs, and all that other stuff.
No, it
Kind of put it, I guess, maybe a bit more into context, like just like even though grouping is better, maybe it's not that much better than what we expected.
it definitely illustrates that with enough skill, you can certainly compete and kind of offset some of the gains given from Paragon. I definitely feel you on that. Yeah, like there are people who are front page on some leaderboards, like top 10, top 12, top 20. And again, they didn't have the advantage as a group in all seasons, so no like crazy high level gems, no crazy high level augments. But I think it speaks, and a lot of people who participate in SSF said that it really helped them learn their class. Like if you're spending a whole season with that one class or maybe two classes, you're trying to find every advantage you can eke out, every way to play them to the best of your ability. So I think, yeah, it definitely does kind of showcase, hey, if you're skillful, you can get you can get far. It's hard to talk today.
Now you're taking my curse.
Yeah, what's happening?
You're welcome.
Begotten curse.
The other thing that I'd be interested in, and just kind of like maybe, I don't know if you actually like polled the people that were participating, but being in part of like this league, did it actually motivate them to push more than what they would if they were just playing through the season, normally, playing groups like here and there, or if this actually gave them a drive to actually, well, I do want to make like top 100 or something like that.
Good question. I'll have to, maybe we need like an exit survey or something when we finish a season just to see. Because yeah, that'd be pretty cool to know, like, was this the highest you've gotten for your greater rifts? Did you feel more motivated than usual? All those sorts of questions would be interesting, because it does really depend on the person, right? If you're self-selecting to essentially do solo self-found, and you have to be driven or motivated to keep logging in day after day, knowing it's just on you.
Yeah, I say that, or I ask that, just because I know for me last season, it was something that definitely motivated me to better my play. Is that I had a limited amount of time to go through and accomplish my goals, and so I planned things out a little bit better. And then as soon as I kind of like saw a gear combination, even though it wasn't what I was going for, and it was very far from optimized, as soon as I had like a gear combination together that I could make work, I then took that and pushed it as far as it would go, which was a greater of 75, just so that way I could have have that together to complete my seasonal journey.
For sure. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Just making the most out of what you got.
That's right. Teaches you to live off the land.
Back in my day.
Exactly. One thing that we also had mentioned last episode, we haven't gotten too much on yet, but we would like, and actually what happened was, and people, when we tell you send an email, that doesn't mean just put it into wherever you feel like it. There are so many ideas that people are throwing out for, like, oh, this theme would be cool. Oh, we'd love to talk about this theme. And we just send it in an email. So send us in an email if you have any ideas on what you'd like to see for future seasonal themes, or if ideas that you've had you want to see fleshed out further, or have us dig into them, discuss them. It would make for some great, interesting conversation for us to have here on this show. So Westmarch Workshop at bluespro.com. Send us your missives on seasonal themes.
Because it is definitely a lot easier to keep track of an email than a just a tag inside of Discord that you check on your phone, and then 5 hours later when you actually get back home, you've completely forgotten it existed to even go through and make a note back into the show notes on it.
And you're like, wasn't there something else going to... Oh yeah, the cat.
Yeah, cat pictures. That's what it was.
I haven't checked that subreddit yet.
And I do wonder, it's something that I wanted to do, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't know if there's any of our listeners or anyone in chat, but Tuba Hero actually went through and did mention that it was also the Diablo 2 the start of a new ladder season in D2. Do we have any D2 players? Anyone that went through and was trying to climb the ladder for D2?
I know
Like
Thunderclaw and Blake started out this season over there.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they actually, instead of starting D3, started D2. Saw a couple tweets regarding that. So that's pretty sick. But yeah, that's so... I remember you mentioning it. It's like, what do I do? What do I choose? Why would they put both of these on the same day?
Because they're cold, heartless bastards, that's why. That is 100% why. This is like one of those ones where, you know, it's like there was like the comedy show. A whole bunch of kidnappers come in. They force, you know, it's like, we're gonna kill your whole family unless you kill one of your 2 children. They give the mom a gun. You have to choose, or we're gonna kill you all. And then she shoots the son, but it was a blank.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, the kidnappers were like, okay, so now you know which one's the favorite. You know, do what you will with that information. Y'all have a good day.
Just ruin their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to choose her. You know, we had to choose like the favorite kid there.
Yeah, how much do you really love D2 when you say you love D2?
Yeah, but D2 is the one that kind of like, they went off to college. They've got, you know, they've been married. They're living in another state. You know they're good. You know they're fine. You don't really have to check up on them.
Or independent little D2.
Yep. It's gotten so big now. It's gotten so big. Which, you know, I guess, I don't know. Actually, D2 at this point is just now going off to college out of state.
Yeah, years-wise.
Yeah.
Existence-wise, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, yeah, when the game came out, that would have been, what? They actually would have, like, just been graduating high school now and moving off to college for the summer?
Sounds right.
I actually forgot. I know that came out in 2000. I don't remember what day it came out.
Was it June or March? I feel like something happened in the summer. Maybe it was June for LOD, whatever LOD
actually
stands for anymore.
Yeah, you are correct there. It is June 29th, 2000. So in 2 days, D2 will have its 18th anniversary.
Whoa, look at that.
Look at that.
Hey, happy anniversary. We totally had that on the show notes. I mean, like, come on.
We 100% did.
We're so prepared.
Yep. And speaking of anniversaries, this also has now been 1 year officially since the launch of the Necromancer.
Yeah. I saw that, and you know what reminded me was the Challenge Rifts came out same time, and we're on the 53rd Challenge Rift, so that's 52 weeks previously of Challenge Rifts, which is a year. So yeah, that's pretty nuts. Time flies.
It does. It really does. Look at all the. It's been a long, strange trip. I think the quote goes. All the wonderful, crazy things we've seen in this past year. Even not even taking into consideration that we've had a couple seasons all in the same patch, that we've still managed to find new things to do and talk about since then.
Sure.
The massive 2.6 patch and all the lovely balance changes that came from there, and we don't know what the future might hold. There obviously is something still going on when they went through and they gave us these themed seasons. This is just the start. I would hope that if depending upon what they learn or test with this one, that we might be getting something as cool as the double goblin buff is, like throughout the entire season. Maybe imagine things that they could do more, with future themes and future seasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of promise there. I guess it kind of does answer the question on whether we thought they'd tinker with D3 anymore, because this could be an avenue for them to do some small things, but could have the impact, like you're mentioning, of changing the view of a season for that 2 or 3 month period or so that we're under it. And it's a way for them to kind of do that without necessarily having to dedicate like a lot of time to developing another patch or something. So maybe it will be the thing that keeps stuff fresh until we get more on whatever the next big thing is.
There was a thought that I had about, if they did the double goblins, maybe the next season they'll test it out with another community buff. And I sat there and thought, well, what are the other community buffs? the 1,000% chance of finding legendaries.
Oh God.
Imagine a full season of that. Did you ever expect to like go through a season fully decked out in primals?
That would be the one that it would happen.
Yeah, that is how you get a full set of primals in a single season.
That has to be the season where everyone plays hardcore, because you can never worry about losing everything, because you're gonna have 1 billion backups. That's also the season everyone's stash is just a mess. It's the season of like, I mean, it's funny because people have asked for that in the past. I'm like, this should be on the live server, and every time I've been like, oh God, the balance would be ruined. But maybe, imagine if it was a short blast too, like if it was just like, it's a 1 week season or a 2 week season or something.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, because what would the implications be for the eras and the live servers once the season rolled over and that stash full of primals, you know, just rolled into your normal?
That's the thing is, yeah, what do you do when you're doing themes and how the rollovers work? Because we were even thinking on stream a couple of days ago, like, wouldn't it be cool if there was some like even greater tier of whatever item that they might introduce, or some sort of like temporal item or something. I was like, maybe you could do things that are really cool for a seasonal theme, but then they just don't make it beyond that transfer. Like maybe they're tagged in a certain way so that after the season's done, so is that item, you know? So they could introduce something like potentially game breaking or really crazy or wonky, but it doesn't have to trickle into affecting when you're doing non-seasonal.
I would be interested in seeing like how much of the player base is divided between seasonal and non-seasonal players. Like how much of an impact would it have? Do the majority of people play non-season, or do the majority of people play seasonal?
I have to believe it's the seasonal, more people on seasonal.
Yeah. Because, you know, and actually thinking about it, Diablo 2, you know, actually has something along the lines of that set up in it. There are rune words as well as items that can only be created during a ladder.
Right.
And so the only way to get it on non-ladder is to wait for a rollover.
That's right. Yeah. It does kind of bring to mind when you even mentioned the anniversary of the Necro. I was wondering if, you know, we always ask for it. It'd be cool to just get more info, right? The infographics and stuff, like beyond the fun things of like how many corpses have been exploded in the last year or something. You could also get breakdowns of like, you know, this many seasonal players have gone and done seasons in the last year, and we've had this many people do. I guess it'd be too close to them revealing their player numbers, which they don't seem keen to reveal.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be something that we'll get as a kind of like a post-mortem whenever Diablo Next gets announced, that they'll go through. This has been like the past 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of Diablo. You know, how many seasonal characters, how many goblins have been killed, you know, things like that.
That'd be awesome. Just like put a cap on it.
Yeah, you know, and it's just, you know, every month I go through and I get the little email, you know, 9-ball, here is your month in Hearthstone, and then goes and shows like some various little tidbits of the past, you know, month of activity, you know, just not for yourself, but, you know, like there were this many, you know, arena games played within your region. Like little things like that would be just, I don't know, kind of cool to see. But then, you know, Hearthstone, a lot of it was, you know, it was probably built with a lot of that numbers and information, you know, in mind to have ready access to.
Right. It's like almost makes it easy enough to just get the reporting data and stuff. So you're thinking about it.
Yeah, because I'm sure that there's probably a lot inside of Diablo 3 that just, even though it goes through and records and it outputs, you know, through like an API, that they might not actually have like the proper tools to monitor or really like go in, dig and check, you know, the information that's, you know, tracked or logged. Because you can actually go and see like how many monsters, like how many elites in monsters that you've killed, but I think like it only tracks like the elites if you check it on the website as opposed to your in-game profile.
I think you can get it in-game too.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember whether in the in-game actually showed like the elites in addition to the total kill.
I think it does. Okay. I could be wrong, but I think it does. But yeah, I feel you on that, though. I mean, it looks like they're kind of starting to try more of that. Maybe not specific to the numbers and linked in with our game stuff, but even like they had this promotional thing here with the Season of Greed sweepstakes, which now if you're hearing this, it's already ended, so don't get too excited. Hopefully you did catch it, though, because there was a blog post from the official website right as the season was starting. It had already started in Asia and Europe, and it was just about to start in the Americas when this post went live, letting everybody know that they could potentially win, what was it, like a Xbox One, PS4 laptops that were custom made, specially designed for the Season of Greed with sort of Diablo 3 iconography to it right there on screen if you're watching live or on the VOD. So this was live until yesterday, actually. We found out that Tuesday, June, whatever that date might be, because I don't even know what days are anymore, the 26th.
26th.
Was the last day to enter here. And it was mostly just activations on Facebook, the different social media platforms for the Diablo franchise. So Facebook, they also did a conjunction deal with, I think it was this Major Nelson, who's a person that's an influencer on Twitter for Xbox.
Yeah, he's a Microsoft PR guy.
Okay, there we go. So to like retweet something with him or like go and check out a link that he had. And then there was one with MSI as well, which I just blatantly missed, even though I was like trying to follow because I want that laptop. Just having a laptop would be great. But yeah, actually, this made me remake a Facebook account because I deleted Facebook. And now I get all these annoying texts like, hey, you should add this person as a friend.
Yep.
But if I win, it'll all be worth it, and then Facebook can stop stalking me.
Tangent, segue. I've thought so long and hard about going through and deleting Facebook because I don't really use it all that much, except there are a couple of groups that I'm in for discussing, like hardcore strategy for Warhammer, and that the best discussion groups that I found just happen to be on Facebook as opposed to like a forum or a subreddit or anything like that. It's just like, why did it have to be a Facebook group?
That is weird.
Yeah, it's like, why is the only place to actually like get some good concrete information and like tournament level discussion on Facebook? Why?
Of all the places, yeah, it was a hard decision for me because there are definitely some people I only exclusively talked to on Facebook, and some family members and stuff. But I don't know, man. I just wasn't using it, and it felt like it was sometimes another thing that I compulsively checked, and once I got rid of it, it was just no temptation to ever go back there.
I want to say like the last couple of weeks, I really even haven't had that much of a social media presence on Twitter. And, I kind of like have found myself that it'd be something I would just compulsively do. I would just like kind of like pull up Twitter, go through, check it. Is there anything? No. An hour later, let me just go and check Twitter and stuff. Once I got out of the habit, it's been a little bit harder, to like actually have that mindset. I'm sure, give me another couple of days and I'll be right back into it. But it is just like how you kind of like spend time throughout your day, how much is going in and like checking like that social media and that constant need or crave for maybe not attention but information.
Right, just like that, the fear of missing out potentially. Like, oh man, I have to see what people are saying. What if there's something I miss? Yeah, it is intriguing. But I guess if anyone entered into the sweepstakes and you won, let us know. That'd be kind of cool. If you're a listener of the show, we would love to get pictures of those. Besides, like, it's like the pictures. I'll put them up on the screen again real quick. They look amazing, but I'd like to actually see how it looks because it looks almost like it actually has like a leatherish texture to it. Is that actually like a graphic, or is it actually has a surface texture? How deep does this rabbit hole go? Yep, and those were all, I believe it was one PlayStation, 2 Xboxes, and 2 laptops that, they're one or two of a kind. There's no other of those in existence specifically for the season. And, as much as there was like this huge, big kind of like commotion when they changed the wording in the Diablo job postings about unannounced project, and everyone went crazy, like they forgot that there were unannounced job postings the week before that, the day before that they just changed the wording, and now all of a sudden it's something new.
and everyone was going crazy and asking about it, and Twitter, you know, YouTube and Reddit were all just like, oh my god, they're like making Diablo 4. Like, where were you, like 2.5 years ago when they actually originally announced this stuff? This one, like this promotion, kind of went a little bit under the radar in my opinion, because why would they be making such a huge marketing and PR push for something as small as like a themed season that they're going giving away like these super exclusive items, you know, that's trying to draw in attention specifically, you know, to the Facebook page. I don't think there was any Twitter entries. You had to go to Facebook, you know, in order to go through and get into it and try and cultivate some more of, you know, those likes, the media presence, their social reach and what have you. There's, you know, there's something going on that they're cultivating that account, because it's not the Diablo 3 account, it's the Diablo account.
Yeah.
So they're growing that base for something.
It's spinning back up, man, slowly but surely.
Yeah. There's something. There's rumblings in the night. You can see the fires beyond the horizon. But other than that, I guess there's like one other kind of like not official, but Icy Veins is doing a promotion for the Season of Greed that actually is still going on. You still have a chance to you know, enter into that one. And I believe it was just, they have a post, if you go over and check Icy Veins itself, that you can win a Rainbow Goblin plushie if you submit a picture of you with a goblin on a seasonal character. Let's see.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yep. Let me just double check the full rules. It has to be a seasonal character. You have to make sure that you can see you and the goblins in the screenshot. Console players, please do your best with the pause screen if necessary. They understand that it is slightly more difficult than on the PC. The giveaway itself ends on July 2nd, and you can only enter once. Multiple entries will be disqualified, and then winners will be chosen at random after the contest ends. So just go in there, you know, get in, grab some goblins, some pictures of some goblins, and they're giving away, I believe it's 20 of the little Rainbow Goblin plushies.
Pretty exciting. So if you don't have one, I actually have one, but it's far away. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool and cute to try to combine those two things together.
Yeah, I just have the regular Treasure Goblin plushie, which I would show if my camera was connected.
You're totally showing it right now.
Oh yeah, totes. Yeah. Totes. It's right there.
Yep. Boom. Wow, it's beautiful.
It's right there, right next to the Jar Jar head.
What you don't know is on my other camera, I see everything.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, what with that? Anything else that you have to talk about before we go into the hop into the community section?
Yeah, man. I mean, just season 14 in general, again, really having a blast, really enjoying myself. Glad to, again, be grouping it. And shout outs to all the peeps I have been grouping with. Tuba in particular, been spending a lot of time with. It's been fun to just chat in Discord about life and all sorts of stuff. You know, been trying my best to stay on rank 1 Demon Hunter, or as close to it as I can. I guess throughout the season, I'm going to try to maintain keeping that. I do want to end the season as rank 1, so it's kind of my mission at the moment. I've touched it a few times only to have it taken away, so gonna keep doing my best there. And yeah, man, I'm stoked. It's been so awesome. Got back to getting some of those conquests, like the rank 1 conquests and stuff again, so I'm loving it. We'll see if I can keep maintaining.
Yeah, and I mean, you've not let any of those deaths hold you back either, because you're immediately, like, the next day right back at like just speed running Greater Rift 90s.
Yeah, man. Thank goodness for backups.
Yep. How many Primal Carly points are you going to find in the season?
That is the big question. We're at 2, which is already insane. And we'll see how many more come.
Got my fingers crossed for you. Well, I hope that, you know, you don't need any more than that.
Yes.
Of course.
Let's hope not.
Yep. But going through and hopping over into our community section here, we've got another A lovely set of lore questions sent in by Watson. This in commemoration of the 1-year anniversary of the Necromancer DLC had a couple of Necro-related questions. The first one, what is the balance that the Necromancers are trying to maintain? And that the balance is more so almost kind of as like a religious doctrine, I guess would be kind of like the closest thing to it. It's not an actual like physical manifestation or anything like that. It's just the way that they see the world. You know, that they know the true nature of humanity, that we're you know, we're half angel, half demon, and that neither side can really have all that large of a footing within Sanctuary. And that's the balance that they seek to maintain, that, you know, we don't fall to corruption, but then we don't, you know, also give in to the stagnation, you know, of pure order. And that's what they look for. So you always think of it whenever they say, you know, like for the order, you know, it's kind of almost like a religious dogma for them. And then the second one, if the balance was off, could necromancers ever be allied with demons? And that one is theoretically possible for that one to happen, but because of the pact between heaven and hell, that neither heaven or hell were supposed to have any influence in Sanctuary whatsoever. You can see from the Diablo games that really didn't work out too well, and so for the last couple millennia, it's pretty much just been demons kind of working their way in to try and subtly corrupt Sanctuary, you know, and get around the pact that was made with heaven to not influence it. And so that's why the necromancers have pretty much always, you know, been opposed to, you know, the forces of hell, and not really done anything to the angels. But should, you know, the heavenly hosts ever actually, you know, come into Sanctuary, maybe not so much align themselves with demons, but they would definitely fight as equally hard against, you know, the angels as they would, you know, any Diablo. They would definitely go through and take that, you know, head on. As we can kind of see in the Reaper of Souls, you know, Malthael does kind of go, you know, a little bit crazy there, but, you know, they definitely mobilize to try and limit his impact on Sanctuary. And then the final question was, in lore, do the necromancers have a limit of the number of corpses that they can animate? And that one is, I don't know. They never really touch into it too much about how, you know, like how much of a strain or impact the necromancers have when actually resurrecting the dead. Normally it involves, from the little tidbits of lore that we have, that it has to be, they usually, you know, have a willing kind of like warrior spirit or warrior soul that they have to go and animate the undead corpses to fight alongside them. And it might not necessarily be the original soul that inhabited the body, but they'll coax these, you know, these warrior spirits into the skeletons and zombies and such to go through and fight alongside them. So there might be some limiting factor by, you know, just maybe how many connections that they've made. You know, but otherwise, you never really find any of the necromancers in the novels that do have, you know, like an army of the dead at their disposal to go and fight against. So it's never really delved into, you know, what type of limitations are put on that, or how strenuous it is for a necromancer to raise the dead. So there you go. Necromancer lore.
Oh yes, near and dear to your heart.
That it is. Which, only somewhat related, the new Age of Sigmar released this weekend is a huge undead army that's going through and coming out, and it makes me so happy. It really does. Everyone's dying, and that's so great.
Who's this man that I do a podcast with?
Why is the FBI at my door?
Oh, I have to go. No wonder you don't have the cam for that quick getaway. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, on that uplifting note, let's go ahead and head on over to another email from the community. We have one coming in from a long-time listener to the show, BT Guy. Says, "Sup, fellas?" Hey, look at that. The traditional greeting lives on. Love the podcast. I catch every episode and usually watch while grinding for the loots. Doing very well with my wizard this season, but I figured I'd start a different class, so I created a crusader. Got him ready to level up the next day after work. Threw on a weapon that I just happened to find with the wizard. Picked a pet, hired the follower, and then I was just about to exit. I noticed that my pet didn't seem to be as excited as I was to begin crusading. I know it's not a picture of dogs or penguins or coins, but I thought it was funny. So keep up the awesome job on the podcast. I know there's not much exciting news with Diablo these days, but you guys always manage to make great fun and entertainment. Best of luck to you and everyone on your seasonal journeys. May your overwhelming greed bring you all that you desire, BT guy. And the image is so great because it just happens that one of the flails the Crusader has, and this is just, I think, a generic flail, one of the transmogs you can do, has kind of the happy and the sad face, like the drama thing. And it just got over the face of the follower, and it looks like it's the face of, or sorry, yeah, the pet. And it looks like it's just like, oh God, no, please, I don't want to fight.
I 100% bet you that there was someone in QA and an artist that went back and forth for a week making sure that they could get this to match up, hoping that one day someone would come across it.
It's the perfect height. It perfectly blocks the face of the pet. Like, that's just, yeah, it can't be coincidence.
Yeah, it's the Crusader's little apprentice.
Do I have to?
It's exactly what it is.
It's time to fight. Oh, that's good.
And
thank you for sending that in, BT guy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice little levity. And we have one last thing for the community section. We have one item of the week. This one was sent in from Shepard. And this is a Primal Compass Rose. Now, this bad boy is clocked in at 650 intelligence, 15% life, reduces all resource costs by 8%, the 12% movement speed in a socket. So, that's interesting.
What do you say about that one? I mean, it's rough because you'd like to see primals, but just goes to show that not all primals are created equal.
Nope. That's one of those ones where it's like, I don't know. It might have been better off, like, just accidentally, sharding that one without having noticed that it was a primal and sitting there and thinking back and wondering, oh, dang, I wonder what the stats on it were. That could have been so good. Could have used that in my build, as opposed to knowing the actual disappointment of, oh, well, that's 15 Forgotten Souls.
Yeah, it's like that one, what's it called? Schrodinger's hot dog, where, like, you don't know if the hot dog has been eaten or not eaten yet. So both possibilities still exist, but when you open it up and you see that there's no hot dog, then you're really just sad because you really wanted a hot dog.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it's almost a daily occurrence at work. Like, did the opening crew actually, like, put in any hot dogs? For the shift changes. And it's kind of like, oh, someone just ordered, 3 hot dogs. Let's open the bin here and see what's inside. Oh, look at that! There's nothing.
Show me potato salad. Oh man, I only brought that up because I just really want a hot dog. I didn't realize there would actually be a way for you to link this. For real, for something from your life. That's incredible.
Yeah, well, there you go.
This has been Hot Dog Corner with 9 Ball in the butt. Hot dogs are not dogs. Nice. Here's tube, everybody. Well, yep. You can tell there's a lot. And then not so much. And that's about it.
Yeah. But with that, I guess it brings us to the end of the episode here.
Yeah, man, I gotta go get some hot dogs.
You don't keep a pack of hot dogs in your fridge, just for like special occasions.
It's funny you should ask. You see, there's a long-held tradition of going and making sure that each time I get hot dogs, it's a fresh batch grown on the farm, no GMO, right outside. So yeah, no, I haven't harvested my hot dogs yet. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, you might want to do that because I think that this is like the prime harvest season for hot dogs, and that
Oh,
if you let them grow for too much longer, they might give in to rot. Might be they might be too ripe.
rot dogs.
Rot dogs, yep. Ripe
Okay,
rot dogs.
I'll get on that.
Ruh-oh, Raggy.
My other dogs.
Your dog. Leviathan's dog hasn't made an appearance on the show in quite some time.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
But anyways, bringing this awkward conversation of hot dogs to a close. If you want to send in your emails, your awesome loot, your tales or questions, go ahead and drop us a line at westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. Again, that's westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. For all your epic loot, tales in Sanctuary, or even just your funny pictures of the kid that you take around into demonic rifts and stuff like that, which isn't safe. Someone should call Child Protective Services on that Crusader.
Right away.
Yep. You can also go through and find us on Twitter at the WM Workshop, and we live stream here every other Wednesday at twitch.tv/BlizzPro at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Go through. You can catch our episodes. You can also see our backlog here, including the outtakes from the pre-show and the post-show. We also go through and we have the Blizz Pro Adventure Club where they're going through. I think most recently they've been playing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, here on the channel. So go ahead and click the follow button so that way you can go and get notified when we go live or we do something else on the Blizz Pro network. If you want to go through and support the show or Blizz Pro as a whole, you can always go through and subscribe because that definitely helps subsidize the cost of hosting not only our podcast but Well Met as well as the rest of the Blizz Pro network itself. You can find a lot of the topics that we talked about here on the show at diablo.blizzpro.com. We are even in-game. We are the Blizz Pro clan. There are lots of spots open for this season, so feel free to go through and stop on by. And if you don't want to leave your current clan, then by all means go ahead and jump into the Westmarch Workshop in-game community if you want to go through and chat. There's also the discord.gg/BlizzPro. And then also, if you'd like to plug your own Discord server for the solo self-found league and such.
Yeah, guys, come on over. The water's fine. We got Leviathan, or discord.gg/Leviathan. It's my vanity URL. It's over on my Discord. There's a channel for everyone to just discuss their travails in SSF, link up with other people that are doing it. Feel free to promote your streams in there, whatever you like, if you're doing some SSF, so that way you can kind of keep that community going nice and strong, motivating each other. There's also a really great channel in there as well called SSF Helper. Gives you like live, up-to-date things that you want to know about other people participating, the Paragon levels, who's doing what with different classes, hardcore, softcore, Europe, Americas. It's pretty nuts, and SVR created that, so shout out to him for helping kind of liven up the SSF community even more so.
And then for other forms of social media, you can go through and find us. I am at 9ballgamer at Twitter and at twitch.tv/9ball. And then my main man here is at LeviathanD3 on Twitter, and you can catch his daily streams over at twitch.tv/Leviathan111. And with that, I think that will bring episode 143 to a close. Unless you have any other hot dog related comments, questions? Trivia?
I think we should have named the episode Hot Dogs.
And there is episode 144.
The Return of the Hot Dog.
Ship it.
Hey, what do you like on your hot dog?